Tim Hortons, like it or not, the most popular coffee shop in Canada. So it's only right that we add one to our new HO scale layout. My wife has converted this, what was a Dairy Queen kit, into a very nice Tim Hortons coffee shop. She's also added a little bit of weathering, but as you can see, it kind of looks like a vacant store. So today we're going to bring it to life with some brand new interior and LED lighting. Hello YouTubes. You know, trains are only a small part of a model railway layout. Another important aspect is scenery and buildings. And inside buildings you normally have people, hence the coffee shop, because even tiny people need coffee. As I said in the intro, this building looks a bit vacant, so we're going to improve that today. Let me show you how. On the inside, I will be adding some LEDs like this. And if they're too big, then I've got a whole selection of LEDs like that. And if they're too big, I've got some very, very small LEDs, the sort of grain of rice or grain of wheat or whatever a grain it is. Tiny, tiny little LEDs that you can barely even see. So I have a fine collection of LEDs to try and add to this. But all that's going to do is highlight how empty the building is. So I have 3D printed this, which is a coffee shop interior. This is actually two interior coffee shop bars that I have glued together, or not glued together, but printed together and reversed. So we've got like 4 little checkouts or tills, and we've got coffee machines at the back and storage, countertops. And I think that is going to just add a bit of realism. I'll then obviously need to add some servers behind there and some customers at the front. So that's the inside. What about the outside? Once I have the inside complete, I'm going to add some exterior lighting, also using these little things. These will of course need painted because no one uses green lights anymore. And these will get mounted kind of hanging over there, possibly one there. Certainly need one over the sign at the front. But as I say, it looks a bit daft being green, so I'll probably paint them black. So I've got a few things to do before I can even start. Let's begin then by painting the coffee bar and the lights, and while they're drying we can get on with the wiring on the inside. So let's not get too carried away. You're barely going to see what's going on in here. Let's just paint the tills black. It's really just a bit of contrast. I do actually quite like the overall colour of this. I used a sort of wood effect filament in the printer, which is giving quite a nice overall colour. Okay, let's paint these sections, and I think I'm going to go with a sort of Tim Hortons red, because why not? Oh, or pink apparently. Maybe need to shake this a bit. Does kind of look a bit pink. Maybe it needs a few coats. I could use just a normal paintbrush, but this is so much easier, and again, no one's really going to notice except me and probably my wife, so maybe I should, you know, get the paintbrush out. Nah, this will be fine. And I think I'll just put a little bit of black on these little boxes, just in case you can see them from the outside. I don't think you can. So let's pretend that these are the coffee machines. 30 minutes fresh, apparently. That's looking quite nice, I think. We'll add a bit of detail in the back. Again, just to break it up a little bit. I don't even know what these are supposed to be. Maybe coffee flasks. I think I will also add just a little red stripe along the top of these. And just, I think these are supposed to be microwaves, so give them a bit of a black face. They've not quite evolved to the stainless steel microwaves yet. I think we're just about there. I really don't think we need any more than that. So let us keep the black pen out because I'm going to paint a couple of these little lights. Let's have a look at the front of the building or the outside of the building, see how many we're going to need. Let's see. You're going to mostly see these three sides. You won't really see the back. So I want maybe a light up here, one there, one there, one there. So that's 3, and one here. So 4. Let's paint 5 just in case. That looks much better, I think. Okay, that's 5 of them done. Let's move on to interior wiring and bulbs, obviously. So my plan is to install 4 of these larger LEDs, one in each corner, roughly in each corner. And you're probably wondering how I'm going to power all these LEDs. I am going to use a common or garden model railway transformer, which means I can adjust the brightness. Now, you might think these are going to be too bright, but remember this is going to be an interior display in my basement with lots of lights, so it's going to have to be quite bright in order to see it. I don't think I'll be running my layout with the lights off, but you never know. But it just means I've got the adjustability with this transformer to turn it right up bright or nice and low. And I've got like 5 of these old things, so what I'll probably do in the future is have one transformer for interior lights on the display, one transformer for exterior so we can adjust them independently. Right then, I suppose we better get started. I am going to mark where the lights are going because I'm going to attach them to the roof with a glue gun. So let's see, just one there, one there. And you probably noticed I don't have anything in this area. I'll probably 3D print some benches and tables and chairs basically for people to sit on. But for now, it's going to be vacant. It's a project for another day. And I just broke a bit of the building. Super glue required. You know what? I'm going to adjust where I'm putting this bulb because I'm going to have somewhere to hide all the wires. So I'm going to create a little box, a little hidden section at the back here. I'll just put a bit of this black card actually along here, and then all the wires can hide in there. And then there'll be a hole in the base where all the wires can escape and go down to the wiring on the layout. Okay, I think that looks great. Let's get started. Now, as you may have noticed, I've wired these LEDs in series. If you don't know about LEDs, basically they can only handle X amount of power. Each of these LEDs is rated to about a maximum of 3 volts. This power pack apparently goes up to 16 volts, which I don't believe for a second, 16.5. But just to be on the safe side, we have to eliminate the extra 10 volts that might be coming out of that power pack. We do that with a resistor. I've developed my own little calculation basically. And what I do is I find out the excess voltage, in this case 10 volts, divided by half, which is 5, and then add a couple of zeros to get the ohmage of resistor. So I am going to add, well, a 500 ohm resistor would be the absolute minimum. So let's add you know what, let's add a 1000 ohm resistor. We can always change it out if the lights aren't bright enough, but if we go too light on the resistor, then we end up popping the bulbs and I have to put new ones in, resolder. So let me dig out a 1000 ohm resistor, wire it in series, doesn't matter which side it goes on, and then we'll hook it up to the transformer and see if it works. On the other side of these wires, I'm going to add this little plug connection so that if I ever have to remove the model, I can just unplug it and lift the whole lot away from the layout. Tell you what, you really need some flux when you're soldering. It makes a huge difference. So that's the positive. And again, if you're not new to, if you are new to LEDs, they only work one way around. If you swap these wires around, you'll just get nothing. It won't blow anything, you just won't get any light or power, depending on what you're working on. I will be adding some heat shrink, so I'll need to desolder these because obviously I can't get the heat shrink on, the shrink tubing, heat shrink tubing. This is really just for testing purposes. I'm going to wire this up to the transformer, make sure it all works, and then we'll continue. Okay, we're all wired up. I don't like having those wires exposed. I'm just going to put a bit of tape around one of these for now. Even when you're testing, you've got to be careful. You don't want to blow something up. Okay, let us plug in our transformer and see if we get light. So nothing so far, but that might be because the transformer's in reverse. Let's try it this way. Oh, here we go. This transformer is not the best. It's kind of springy. There's nothing to stop it from. In fact, there's not even any gradual. So I'm going to swap out this transformer, throw it in the bin, get another one. Back in a sec. Okay, let's try again, see if we get a bit more luck with this one. Okay, it seems to just want to be on or off. I'm not getting any gradual glow at all. It's not the end of the world. I would have liked him to be a bit dimmer to start. This could be down to the resistor being too powerful or too much resistance, so it's not getting anything until full power. But you know what, I don't want to spend all day messing with resistors, so I think we'll just leave it like that. We've basically got an on-off switch for the interior. It's not like you would be dimming the interior anyway. Okay, let me just get some heat shrink tubing and those exposed wires, and then we'll get working on the exterior and the wiring and see how we're going to channel that into that little hidey hole at the back. So that's the overhead lighting done. It's fairly neat, nothing too much sticking down the way. This is glued into the ceiling and this will disappear down into my little hidden compartment. Okay, let's move on to the main building and the exterior lighting. I think the first thing I'm going to do is make this little divider in here. Just about that much, I think. This is not going to be a perfect architectural masterpiece. Just enough to hide the wiring. That slots in there. You know what, it could be a little bit higher. Let's do that again, but higher. Might as well use the bit I've got left. Yeah, that'll do. Maybe just paint the top of that white. I mean black. It's already white. So I'll give that a quick paint, glue it down. Not that anyone's ever going to see this, but hey. Let's use a Sharpie. Wasting my good acrylic paint pens. That'll do. Let's glue this down. Whoops. Okay, that'll set in a few minutes. Let's figure out where all these lights are going, how we're going to attach them. Now, I do have a slight problem at the front. I want to highlight the Tim Hortons sign, but I've noticed these are actually a little bit big, and if I put them in roughly there, the light is actually going to hang down halfway down on the sign. So I'm really going to have to mount the sign up here And then I'm going to have to bend this inwards like that. But even then, it's still going to be too close. So what I'll probably do is add a little bit of plastic to raise the height of this section here, so that this can mount about there and shine onto the light, shine onto the sign like that. I think one of them is probably going to be enough. So one there, one down there, one down there. And I'll probably have to do the same thing with this side to highlight that signpost. So another bit of plastic there. Right, let me see what I've got. I'll see when all that's done. Obviously I'm going to have to drill little holes. One through there, one through there. Carefully. Careful, my middle name. See you in a minute. We just need to wait for the paint to dry on that, and then I can slide on those lamps and glue them in, and then do that tedious micro wiring. First of all, I do need to check to make sure I know which colour. I don't even know if you can see these wires, they're tiny. I need to check to see which one is positive, which one is negative. I can use one of these, it's like a remote control battery. It's about 3 volts. Hopefully it's not too much for this little bulb. So I'm going to try red as the positive. Sure enough. So red is the positive. I'm going to wire them up the same way as I wired up the roof lights. This could be really tricky. I may go blind. Well, that was a nightmare. I hope it works. I did manage to break the lights off about 3 times and I forgot to put in the resistor, so I had to do that. Anyway, let's plug it in and see if it works. Let's see if I can pick this up without breaking the lights off. So delicate. I'm going to have to touch up some of the bits with dark brown paint again because the super glue was over the top of the paint. Right, let's plug it in. As you can see, the wires are as neat as I can get them. They're certainly not dropping below the level of the windows. Right, plug it in. The right way round. Let's give it some power. Oh yes, we have lights. I actually like how it's lighting up the Tim Hortons sign. That's quite nice. So these aren't as bluey white as the interior lights, but that's okay. I think that looks a bit more subtle. That one's nice and bright, and the one at the other side is suddenly gone off because I've turned the, there we go. Yes. Okay then, so what's left? Let's unplug that for now before I rip everything out. I need to put the interior in. A couple of dods of hot glue, and it's going to be difficult to decide exactly. Well, no, I've already decided, but it's going to go there because if I put it any further back, then you're really not going to see it from the outside. So I think about there, and you'll still be able to see the interior. As I say, if it's away back there, you won't see it, it's pointless. But I think, yeah, I think we're going to go about there, a couple of people in there. And then that'll be that. I'm not going to put too much glue in this in case I change my mind. I want to be able to peel it off without breaking everything. Let's put you there. Cool. Right, lid. Make sure we get the plug through the hole. Which is going to be tricky because I've already got wires in there. I think I made the hole big enough. Oh, let me fight with that. There could be swearing involved, and I'll let you see it when it's all done. So my first miniature building is all wired and lit. There's my little plugs, one for the outside, one for the inside. What have we learned? Small parts like to break, so I would advise doing all your main wiring on the inside first. Anything that requires you to pick up the building constantly, do that first and then install the lights at the end. Even if they're just hanging out there by wire, right at the end, push them in, glue them in, save a world of trouble. Thanks for watching. I have a lot more buildings to construct and wire. I'm also going to have to do a sort of bus wire just for this kind of thing and any other strange little toys that I've got spinning about in the track. Anyway, that's me for now. I'll let you see this at the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.